OSI model and TCP IP Suite. So the OSI model is an open systems interconnection model. Was created by ISO, which is the International Organization for Standardization, and is a chart on how the network works, right? It's divided into 7 layers. So we have the application layer, presentation layer, session, transport, network, data link, and physical. You need to know these, memorize all of these. Okay, so the application layer is the closest to the end user. It sends and receives data from users and acts as an interface, and it's basically like a web browser, right? And the data here is just called data. The presentation layer, this translates between the application layer and the other layers, right? So yeah, and the data here is also called just data. Then we have the session layer. The session layer, it controls sessions between hosts. It uses protocols like ADSP, RTCP, etc., so that it can, just basically establish communication between the same applications on different devices. And then we have the transport layer. The transport layer is it's basically in charge of breaking large pieces of data into smaller segments, and then that's why it's called segments. And then it uses TCP or UDP depending on the type of transfer it wants to make, and we'll cover those later. So yeah, and this is what a segment looks like: data and a layer 4 header. And then we have the network layer. The network layer provides IP path selection. It uses protocols like ICMP, ARP, NAT, MPLS, etc. An example of a device would be like a router, right? And it's called a packet. It has data, layer 4 header, and a layer 3 header. And then we have the data link layer. And the data link layer is basically node to node. It's using MAC addressing, and it's layer 2, so like switches, right? So this is called the frame, and it contains a layer 2 trailer, data, layer 4 header, layer 3 header, and then a layer 2 header. So as we're going down, all of them are just being encapsulated, right? More and more, right? As we go down. And then finally we have the physical layer, and this is just called a bit. And over there, yeah. And it's basically just the medium to send data, like through wires, etc. And then the types of data are called PDUs, protocol data units, and you also should know them. You should know that there's data, segments, packets, frames, bits. All right, yeah, learn this, know this. All right, this is the OSI model again. There's data, segment, packet, frame, bit. Just know this. And then a good way to help you memorize it is all people seem to need data processing, right? This is like a clever way to, kind of memorize it. But the OSI model is outdated. It's not in use currently. Currently what's in use is TCP and IP, right? But you still need to know the OSI model. You still do need to know it. But currently what's in use is the TCP IP, which is the Transmission Control Protocol. It was developed by the U.S. Department of Defense, and it's the model that's currently in use. I'm going to keep mentioning that. So basically it's just the top 3 layers of the OSI model become the application layer. The transport layer becomes the transport layer, and the network, data link, and physical layer become, the data link and physical layer become the link layer, and the network layer becomes the network, right? It just stays the same. That's basically it. I mean, the PDUs are the same for over here, and that's it. Goodbye.